We are joined by City Councillor Chris Moise. Thank you so much for joining us, Councillor. Let's talk about the results of this pilot project. And I'm curious, what kind of data is the city going to be reviewing in order for this to eventually get the green light in all parks?
Well, again, it's been a few months since the pilot project has been in place, and as you mentioned, it came to an end yesterday. And throughout the entire time, we've only had 2 complaints, which is actually, I think, a good thing. My feedback I've been hearing is that people have been quite happy with the pilot project. It's been well utilized in my ward specifically, and so people would like to see the pilot project eventually continue to perhaps something more permanent. But that being said, city staff has been collecting data throughout that time, engaging people who have actually used the parks. And also, too, we do have a feedback website open, so people can actually provide feedback there. That's open until October 16th, so feel free to go to the website and provide your feedback there. But overall, I feel positive and encouraged by what I've been hearing so far.
What feedback, or what exactly is the city going to do with this feedback that you didn't necessarily get from the actual pilot project? Because I'm sure, Chris, you can appreciate that a lot of people in the city of Toronto look at this whole pilot in general as a giant waste of time and money.
Well, we know that people are already drinking parks, right? I would say 99% of Torontonians who do drink in parks have done so responsibly, and they did that during the pilot project. But perhaps, we could look and see, which parks is perhaps more suitable. And also to, maybe the hours, perhaps, those sort of things. I haven't seen the survey itself, so I can't speak to it directly. But again, it's more driven by people's comments as to what they would like to see and what may or may not have worked during that period of time.
Can you give us a sense about the report on the pilot project that's expected to be presented to the city's Economic and Community Development Committee in the first quarter of next year? What's expected to be in that report, and how do you expect that report to impact, this particular pilot project?
Yeah, so again, as you mentioned, that won't come to committee until next year. But again, I think what I'd like to see is a recommendation from the committee, from staff, as to whether they would like to see it permanently or not. Like I mentioned, this is a first-class city. People drink in parks across Canada and beyond. And we looked at best practices, in Vancouver and in Edmonton, and Calgary, and those places. I've been in Montreal as well. And it's worked well there. So again, Toronto being the largest city in the country, and we haven't had this program for some time, I think it was about time. I do feel that, based on what I'm seeing and hearing, that I'm hoping that it will be permanent over time.
And I'm sure many people can appreciate the concern from some council members who voted against this pilot project, who were concerned about people getting completely wasted in these parks during this pilot, but clearly that didn't happen. I'm wondering, what are the conversations you're having behind the scenes with those individuals who were, I guess, in the minority of this decision, because it seems as though that a large majority of the councillors felt that this is a good idea, and it gives opportunity for people to enjoy the same kind of things that people around the world enjoy, having a glass of wine or a beer in a park.
Well, I don't want to speak for other councillors, but I can say that I'm relieved that there's been no major incidents as a result of drinking in parks. As I mentioned, it's only been 2 complaints. I'm not quite sure what those complaints are, where they came from specifically, but I think, all the concerns I think my council colleagues had hopefully will be put to rest, and hopefully they'll provide some feedback as to a way forward.
City Councillor Chris Moise, we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.